Your Humanities Half-hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Welcome to your Humanities Half-hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today we're offering more hope and encouragement in this time when we're all dealing with COVID-19, and specifically for the parents out there, and of course all of us that support parents with school-aged children. As many of you know, the CNMI public school system has recently announced that they're going to continue the rest of the school year online, and I think that's for like 10,000 kids here in the Marianas, and a lot of private schools are also doing that. We thought that it would be very helpful to bring in somebody who might be able to help parents prepare for and make this time productive for their children. And it's my pleasure to have on our show today my friend and Saipan resident who is a homeschooler of 4 children, Ruthi Fruit. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome
Thank you.
To the show.
And good morning, Catherine. We have homeschooled our 4 sons, and that were 6 years apart, primarily here on island since 2003, from their early ages all the way through high school. And we traveled a fair bit, so homeschooling was very convenient for us.
Oh, so this is going to be great, because not only is it just going to get us through this time, but I have also homeschooled, so maybe we might be planting some seeds here, Ruthi.
Yes, homeschool is really fun, sometimes.
Well, this is going to be an honest conversation, and I have to say, if you're hearing cars pass by, it's because Ruthi and I are exercising social distancing. We are actually here in the lobby of the radio station doing this recording instead of the studio that we have. So don't be afraid. We're not going to infect each other, except maybe with some enthusiasm during this conversation. So what made you decide to homeschool?
We were living in Australia with our first 2 sons in an Australian school for a few years. And we had the other children, but they were not of school age yet. And we had decided to move back to the U.S. mainland, eventually planning to move here permanently on Saipan. And schools in Australia go from February to November, so the calendar year was off, first of all. And plus we were bringing back very Aussie children, and we're thinking of culture shock.
Good day, mate.
Yeah. And like our families back home couldn't even understand our children.
Wow.
So it was, wow, we really better think about this. And then also along with our travel, homeschool seemed the best option.
So tell us a little bit more about your children, because there may be some of our listeners who actually know them. And you have 4.
I have 4
boys.
sons. I do, yes. And they're all wonderful. They're all doing really well. Colin, Mason, and Joel and Anthony. And they're all over the world right now. So I feel very blessed. But really happy for my time with them and in homeschooling. It was wonderful.
You know, I actually know Colin and Mason fairly, I wouldn't say fairly well, but I know them best because we were referees for the
Yes.
Football Associate NMIFA together. Really intelligent, polite young men.
Thank you.
And confident. And so this, I'm sure homeschooling had something to do with that. But okay, so PSS, they're probably going to be doing some kind of online. I know that when I homeschooled, I used a little bit of online and a little bit of workbook. So what did you use?
We used Sunlight curriculum. We loved it because everything was mapped out for us. Like we had a day planner and it told you what to do in each subject, how many pages to read, how many pages to discuss. You chose your own math. We had chosen Singapore math, and the history was world history. So they got an idea about the whole world, all of their education. So we really liked that. It's also Bible-based, and that was very important to us. So it was called Sunlight, capital SONLIGHT, one word. And we really, really liked it. So, yeah.
So, was your material then like workbooks? Did you have a CD? Were your kids getting online? How was the material presented?
Mostly through reading, but we did have workbooks and they did do those. Like I said, they gave a teacher's guide and you just needed to follow it. So it was all set up for you. And the books were great. Yeah, it was good.
So it sounds like an important thing for parents who are going to be helping their kids learn over the next few months, weeks, if not few months, is to have an idea of how much work needs to be done in order to get through the week, in order to get through the month, and in order to stay on time. So that's something a parent would kind of need to map out. I know that I did that when I homeschooled my son. It was like, okay, we got to do this pages, 7 to 10 today in this subject.
And Sunlight gives you that. You don't have to do that with Sunlight. They just tell you. They just tell you what to do, and you just do it, and it gets done.
Okay, so whether it's given to you or whether you need to figure it out on your own, that's something that you should probably do. Now, how much flexibility did you give? Like, is it important to really, once you know, like, I got to do 3 pages of social studies every day before the end of the school year, how important did you find it was for the success of your sons to stick to that, or were you flexible?
I was more flexible than my husband was. We worked together, and if you have an opportunity to have someone else work with you, please take them up on it, because by yourself it is a challenge. It is a big challenge to keep going. But you have to do the work. And yes, you can get
kids, if you're listening, you have to do the work.
Yeah, but don't make it stressful. There's no need for it to be stressful. It can be fun, but the endurance part of it is a bit of a challenge. Yeah, but just keep it going.
So the difference between you and your husband, which do you feel was more successful? Now we said we're going to be honest here.
My husband.
Okay. So the being strict was more successful.
Yeah, it was really good that he just, like, if I was starting to fail in my work in the teaching, he just kind of took it over, which was really wonderful. And he just kept it going. And I am very thankful to him because he made their education happen. He's very knowledgeable and very supportive, and he taught my guys well.
Now this raises another important point. Okay, this keeping up on education, maybe it's not best that just one parent be responsible to make sure that the kids are doing it. If you have somebody, a spouse or somebody you can tag team with, and work together, it certainly sounds like it lightens the load.
Totally.
Okay.
And you can do what you're best at. And that's what we ended up doing. We took the work that we were best at.
And hopefully one of you is good in math if you're working. So how did you structure your day? Like, did you plan to start, were you firm about, let me just throw it out there. How did you structure your school day?
Okay, we needed to start out straight away. So Cameron would make lists for all the guys, and their stacks of books would be at their places at the table. So it was even before breakfast. And you didn't have to wake up at a certain time, but boy, if your math tutoring session, if there were no more no more brothers to go through, you needed to be at math tutoring. And then, so we started immediately. And you could, if you were waiting for math, you do your other work because you had your list, and all you had to do was do everything on the list and check it off and go to math and go to your reading classes, which happened normally after breakfast. And we hit it straight away.
Did you find that your children kind of like did what they liked first? It sounds like they got to choose what they wanted to do first. And was it a bad thing that they got to choose what they wanted to do first?
No, homeschooling is so flexible, and that's wonderful. The wonderful part about it. If you didn't like a subject, you'd probably do it first to get it finished with. Or the harder.
See, that's not me. I do the
ones you love first.
Personally. But, okay. Now, how did you handle this with 4 different ages homeschooling.
We had normally 3 grades. Like I said, in math, they were each tutored individually.
Okay.
So, but the other subjects were done, my youngest son had school all to himself because he was too far away from my third son. But the first 2 went through school together for the most part. The middle 2 did science together. So we had 3 grades, not 4. They're only 6 years apart. You can do that. And Sunlight encourages that, and they're very conducive to what you need to get done.
Did you feel like you were being torn in too many directions?
No, but it takes all of you to do this. It takes a huge amount of time to do it properly. It takes all of you. And that's where 2 was better than 1.
It really sounds like parents are going to have to really acknowledge that this is going to be it could be a very trying time, a time that's definitely going to require a lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of patience, and so it's not something that we can go into lightly, but as you've proven, all of that effort really pays off in the end.
Yeah, right now, all of us on island don't really have a choice about schooling our children. And to some degree, we need to be involved in our children's education for sure, if not completely. And I am here today to tell you that you can do it. And it doesn't have to be a stressful situation. And it can be actually quite fun, like you are also repeating, Catherine. That's wonderful. Anyway.
Do you foresee any particular challenges unique to what we're going to be facing in the next few weeks that maybe are a little bit different from the way you did things? And would you have any thoughts on those?
Everyone is having cabin fever to a degree also. And that gets tricky, and all of our options, not all of our options, I mean, we have the ocean, and we can stay 6 feet apart there. But
as long as everyone can swim. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have to be really creative with how we're having ourselves amused. You know what I mean? It's like we have to stay positive, and we have to stay not becoming fearful anyway of what we face. It's a something none of us have faced, and everyone in the whole world faces the same thing.
That's an interesting thought. There are a lot of, it's not just here in the Marianas or Guam that we're talking about homeschooling, it's across the U.S. that, we're having to do this together. Well, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about maybe some of the particular challenges you faced and how you overcame them, and a little bit more about your homeschooling. If that's okay with you, we're still good?
We're good.
All right. We'll be back after this break.
Did you know that you can donate up to $5,000 to the Humanities Council through the CNMI Education Tax Credit Program? Donations from individuals and corporations qualify and can be used to offset your local wage and salary tax, BGRT, and earnings tax. Call our office at 235-4785 to see how you can support humanities programs in our community and obtain a tax credit for your donation. Sizuus Maasi, Olomai, and thank you.
Welcome back to your Humanities Half-hour. Ruthi, I'm really enjoying doing this interview in the lobby. I might do all of my interviews. I mean, you've got your raspberry tea, I've got my tea. We just need some cookies here and we're good to go. Well, we said we were going to keep it real during our chat today. So I want to ask, are there any particular mistakes you made or challenges that you had to overcome in homeschooling your 4 children?
Mistakes. We all make mistakes. And I feel like we need to forgive ourselves and others and just get on with life and don't hang on to it, because it can just make us so bitter. Crazy inside. Yeah. So nothing works out the way we plan. Nothing at all. I think we just need to do our best. And challenges, I think the biggest one was the perseverance for me to keep going. I don't know, my husband then at that point, he just could just do what needed to be done in the school and his regular work. So That's all he did, but he just had really big discipline.
Now, were you working at all? Because I know you teach piano.
Teaching a little bit of piano, but not really much.
So you had other things going on in your life.
Not much, but yeah. As far as work, not much.
Okay,
but yeah,
that was a blessing.
Yeah. But I think like when other things came up, it was really good that the other person was there.
Yeah.
So spring breaks were when my then husband traveled, and then we could kind of just chill during those times. Yeah. The challenges, I think the biggest one is just keep going with it, and that's what we're all going to be facing. Just keep persevering, even in this time of whatever we have to do, of no work, of no employment, or and having our kids with us all the time. That is a big challenge, especially when we're not used to it. So yeah, perseverance. That's the biggest challenge for all of us right now.
Yeah, I would say from my experience, and I homeschooled my son for 4 years, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. And my biggest mistake, at least from my perspective, he may feel otherwise, but I don't feel I was patient enough. And I lost my patience. And of course that wasn't nice, and I'm sure it wasn't conducive. But he did have a successful homeschooling experience because, number one, I learned to be patient. I also learned very important thing for my son and his learning style is what they call pre-teaching, which is before he would start his lessons, which most of the time I let him work independently, which was really great for him because that was one of his, if not the biggest challenge he had in school, was being able to, regular classroom was being able to focus on what it was he was supposed to be doing and not be distracted by other things. And so in homeschooling, he was able to develop that skill because obviously there weren't a lot of distractions. And what I would do is I would hit the highlights of the lesson. I would have to review it ahead of time, like social studies, not necessarily, I would say like social studies, science. I would hit the history, hit the highlights of the lesson before he would actually go in and read the material and answer the questions and stuff like that. So he kind of had a little bit of an idea of what were the important things he was supposed to be looking for or focusing on, and that really helped a lot. It did take a lot of time, but I think it was really helpful for him to be able to grasp the material better. And so I would say, as far as my mistakes, my biggest mistake was not being patient enough. So we both learned. I learned to be more patient. He learned to be more focused, and so it worked out well. And then by the time he became, when he was going to go into 8th grade, I felt that he had learned all the skills that he would need to be successful in the classroom, and he wanted to go back to regular school. So I let him make that choice. And he did elect to go back to regular public school. Well, first he went to a private school, and then for high school he went to Saipan Southern High, and he graduated from Saipan Southern High. So that's the long and short of my homeschooling experience. But I guess a very important question that some parents might have is, how do you build self-motivation in the child so that they don't need you to hound them or micromanage their education? What's your experience with this?
I was glad Cameron was there to help that happen. But I would say each student, each one of our sons is very, very different. And you need to find out what works best for each one of them. And I don't think we're the best at that, but I think for you guys out there that are doing it right now, just go with what your sons do best.
Or daughters.
Or daughters, thank you. Yes, there are girls in this world. My guys were motivated to finish because when they were done, you can do whatever you want. You can go outside and play with the other guys in the apartment complex. You can just do whatever you want. So finish the work because you know you're going to have to finish it, and then you can go play. You can, So,
I was totally shocked when my son was in high school, and in addition to his regular classwork, he started taking additional online classes. He did this like 3 times, one during the summer and then a couple of semesters. And I was like, wow, I did such a great job of homeschooling. My son is taking extra classes, and I didn't ask him to, I didn't encourage him to. And I was like, so what made you decide to, take extra classes? Like, I just want to be done. I just want to graduate.
Yeah. It is motivational.
Yes. That's a great motivation.
Yep.
Talking about a little bit more about the other things that support the educational process, like nutrition, bedtime. How did you guys address that?
We ate fairly well. I think our budget was more what is going to work. We ate a lot of spaghetti. I did try to be healthy. I got into carrot juice for a while, but I was the only one into that. So I'm still into it, but just a little bit more creatively. We ate okay. We didn't want them, okay.
Did you feel you had to limit sweets until after
There's
school?
There's too much going on to keep track of all of that.
Okay.
I mean, I would have loved to do it. I would have loved to do it again. I would love to have a second chance at it and do it better. And it just not possible in life. And anyway, you asked about bedtime. We had everybody go to bed straight at 9:00, all the guys. So not nice for the eldest, very fun for the youngest. But again, it's what worked. We lived in a small apartment, and we needed that time a little bit at the end of the night. So anyway.
And then, so at what time did you say you were starting in the morning?
As soon as people woke up, which was 6 or 6:30.
Okay, breakfast and...
Yeah, breakfast was the break. I was in charge of breakfast usually, right? So math tutoring was happening with the principal, their father, and it just happened. Like, you can be very flexible, and when the breakfast is ready, we take a break.
Wait, are you saying you started school at 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah. They rolled out of bed.
I want to say that's incredible. Incredibly difficult, but it's great to hear that you guys were able to do that.
Yep.
It's like a farmer's life. Get up with the sun.
Yeah. Get it. Work straight away. That's what worked for us.
See, I would have been needing a nap after lunch. What about recreation? How did that play into the homeschooling of your...
I'm going to say soccer, and soccer. Yes, we had organized PE classes at times, but their mother was in charge, which was just a laugh if you know any of my kids. So, but they did get exposed to other sports.
You are a great soccer mom, by the way.
I was the bus driver. I was that role I could do. I did expose them to other sports, and good grief, if you live on Saipan, you're going to be outside. You're going to be outside doing things. So, and they did ref, and that was good. But I would say soccer was the most valuable in our PE program. Totally, they're out with other guys, and it just was, and they all loved it. And then a couple of them started reffing. Well, all of them actually did. But and one kid, my eldest, reffed so he could pay for his violin lessons. So I feel like they were well-rounded in the things that they chose to do.
I guess soccer's kind of suspended right now, but just getting your kids out there for some exercise
definitely
would be important for your own sanity as well.
Definitely.
Do you have any support structures or resources that either you used, or types of support structures, resources that you might be able to recommend to people to give them some? Oh,
man. I'm sure there are some, and now even more so because that we're all housebound, but I had minimal. I wished I had sought out more resources, and I know they're out there. But just get online and just go to Sunlight and see if they have support groups. And that would have been definitely more, that would have been helpful. Yeah.
When it comes to gauging your success, you feel, in leading the education of your kids, how do you feel? Are you satisfied?
I am so glad I got to be a part of it. I don't think I did the bulk of it. I think their father did. And I'm very grateful to him for giving them a good education. He's very smart. He's very knowledgeable. And he was a great father and is a great father, and educated his sons very, very well. And I did what I could from the sidelines. I loved the younger grades. I mean, they were the bomb. I loved, coloring. Oh my goodness. I'm like, now what is the advice I want to share with everyone listening? Sit down and color with your kids. Have some fun. It's a number one stress releaser. Just enjoy this precious time. So I am very satisfied with their education. I am very happy that it could happen. No one knows how life is going to go, and we sure didn't. And for my guys, I'm very, very happy. So I learn from my kids, learn from them. As you're sitting down with them, learn from them and what they can offer you.
I learned patience from my son.
Yeah.
I needed to learn patience, and he has taught me patience.
Yeah.
He models patience, which is great.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I have some charms in all four of my guys. Yeah. They all had some beautiful
It's really a very
characteristics.
It could be a very challenging time. It could also be a very precious time to have this opportunity to do it with our kids.
It is a very precious time. Very precious. No regrets. No regrets at all about homeschool.
Well, I know you put a lot of thought into our chat today, and I want to thank you again for opening up and sharing your story with us and your experience to help the parents out there. Any final thoughts before we go, or anything else that maybe I didn't ask about that you want to leave with us?
Regardless, this time will pass. So I'm hoping you can make the most out of this very precious time with your children, even though it's exhausting for some of you because you're doing such a great job. If you're on your own, I hope that you can find someone else, perhaps another child that you have that's older and can help a younger one. Just please use their help. There's many resources online, but it is a special short time in life. It's not going to be forever. And I wish you all the best. Stay strong, Saipan.
We've been chatting today with Ruthi Fruit, who, along with her husband, homeschooled their 4 sons. Fine young men, very respectful and intelligent. And we hope that you've taken something positive from our chat today to help you during this time of crisis and time of community need. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruthi.
You're welcome. Thank you, Catherine.
This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.